Okay, this is part 2 of fuel lines. You know, I noticed I guess because I'm getting old, I'm making mistakes in my words. So just ignore it. But if you watch, I'm going to call this part 2, but if you watch my other video, I showed how to bend a fuel line. Just follow the old contour of the steel lines. Well, as I went up to 5/16, the next size bigger, I had more trouble. Because it's harder to bend. And then I decided that I wanted to save this spring material because this stuff is really good for, if you notice, they put it on the bends, the big bends. So I decided I was going to put it on my big bend. But to get the spring off, I had to cut the old steel line. Once I cut the old steel line for both of them, then I didn't have then it wasn't so easy to bend this because I didn't have the steel line to bend it on. If you can follow that. So what I suggest is you do not cut your old lines. You do not take the springs off your old lines. You can take them off when you're done. So I went out and bought some of the spring. Went out means I ordered it from Amazon. It's not that cheap either. It's like, that was like, I don't know, 20 bucks. And I don't need all of it. So I got some for 1/4, 5/16, and 3/8. So from now on, I mean, these 2 lines are done, I can put them up. But from now on, I'm going to slip a piece of this on my new lines where I think the bends are going to be. Because once you put it on, let's see. I was going to show you how it slides, but it will. Or you can just keep moving it at each bend. Each sharp bend, like a 45 or a 90, and you can just keep moving it. So that's what I'm going to do from now on. And one more thing that I discovered, and I'll just take you over there. I was using my Sound Blaster that I got from Harbor Freight. And that got me thinking. This, let me see if you can see in there. I'll do a close-up. That got me thinking, because these lines, this cheap old hose that comes from Harbor Freight keeps kinking. So I just took some wire again, I just have stuff left over from my construction days. This is just tie wire, and I just wrapped it around the line, and now it doesn't kink. It doesn't kink at all. So it's funny how you do one thing and you learn something else. So now I got these 2 lines bent. This is unedited. I've never tried this before. And now I gotta try to put these up by myself. It's kind of awkward. But I'm gonna start at the worst bend. Let's see. It's gotta go this way. I'm sure the worst piece, the worst bolt is gonna be the first one. So this tang on here, you can see it, is the one that goes in the big hole. So I'll just start it. Again, I guess I'm so anal. I sandblasted and painted these brackets. That's the problem when once you start painting, you feel like you got to keep doing it. Get started. You can see these are overlapping and it shouldn't be like that. So. Which is why I'm starting here. I just wondered if this piece shouldn't be on the top because of the bends. Yeah. Let me see. Yeah, I think I gotta switch it. See, put the return line on top. At least I'm gonna. Ah, damn it. I see it's not up in there far enough. Again, I won't do this too long. I just want to. So I put white dots where they go because I'm getting so old I can hardly see. With a dot, that means there's a bracket that goes there. Anyway, I was looking at some other brackets. Light is blinding. so. I guess it's supposed to go. Look at the brackets, see if they're all the same. Starting to rain outside. And then around backwards. So Holly said that's where it goes. As tight as I can get it. I'll just snug it up a little bit more. I don't know if you can see any of that. Maybe my big head was in the way. So now I'm over here. I'm gonna have to bend this a little bit. Now, hang on, I'm gonna get something to push this up with. Okay. You know, even though I said in the first video you get perfect bends, I guess I didn't. It looks to me like this needs to go up, so I'm just going to push it up. I guess I should figure out which one goes where. I guess it doesn't matter. I'm going to push this up. Now I'm missing my bolts. Where are they? Again, the tang goes in the bigger of the two holes. And it appears this is the way it wants to go together, so I'm just going to do it. Doesn't hurt to squeeze this together a little bit. And pliers. I stuck it up because this isn't going to change. So I decided that if you watch, I don't know what you can see. That's what I was working on. Let's see, there is a rubber hose here. I decided that probably was factory because the body is solid, but the frame has got rubber bushings. So I'm sure it moves around a little bit. So the way they had it, you can see this is the bigger hose. I'm going to switch the hose, but I'm just going to bend this out a little bit. Bend this one in a little bit. And I'm not going to hook this up because I'm going to replace it with. That's it. That's a major accomplishment for me. The first one's always the toughest. This one's not moving either, so I'll just tighten it up. I can't see the hole.
So these two lines have to come together a little bit. I know, I gotta do like I said before, squeeze these together. This one needs to go up further. Bend is off a little bit. Put a little kink in there. Not bad. A little bit on this vapor line. This is why it's a good idea to have that spring stuff on there. Right there. Yeah, there's a little kink. Not much. And then it's gonna go up. Up to here. A little bit over my head here. And lower the car here. That's the beauty of the lift. What I do is I lower down, and I just go up until it locks. I just pull a circuit breaker. It happens every once in a while. this side. Over here. Fuel tanks drop, which I'm going to strip. I mean, switch later. Okay, so from doing this, this is the return line, this is the vapor line. I just want to see if I matched up the tank. So the vapor, let me make sure, I keep forgetting these. Yeah, the return line is a thicker one. So here I got the return line the furthest back. Not that it matters, it's only a rubber hose. So I got the return line the furthest back. Over here, it's the 1/4 inch line, the return line. Oh, I keep forgetting this. No matter what I keep saying, I watch my videos. The 1/4 inch is the vapor, the 5/16 is the return, and the 3/8 is the feed. So the vapor, see, I just forgot, I just said it. The 1/4 is the vapor. The 1/4 is the vapor, that's the shortest. Yeah. That's how it is here. That's the shortest one, this one's about that much longer. It's kind of what I have. Anyway, that's how I'm doing it. And I think this is the hardest spot because of this double. Because of this whoop you do up and then 90 and then 90. I don't see that happening anywhere else. Well, right here. On the opposite side on the fuel and brake line. But I'm waiting for the spring material. Looking at how they did it compared to what I did. Of course, theirs are better because of the factory bends. You know, I've been wondering how the heck did they bend these on. You hear them say, if you look at any magazine that's selling lines, they say they bend it, they're CNC bent, meaning automatic. You know, I've been thinking about that. What kind of jig? I mean, some of the wires are kind of like, you know, you can't make a jig like that. So they must bend it, flip it. I mean, you'd have to make a. If I was to make my own tool, you'd have to go like up or flat, then up, then over, then down. You can't bend that on a flat surface. I mean, I guess they could have some kind of jig that just bent like this up in the air, where you could just bend this stuff anywhere underneath. You pull it, and the machine would say, I guess the machine could feed it and turn it, and then turn it back, then turn it this way, then turn it that way. Anyway, never done this before, first time, retired, got nothing better to do, so I might as well just do it right. And then share the information, maybe. I noticed there's about 2 people watching these videos, which that's fine, I don't give a shit. But it's interesting because, like I say, sometimes I go back and look, and I can see how I say the wrong words and I screw up a lot. Perfect. Okay, to end this video, this is what I learned. And I guess it keeps changing every video. One of the hardest parts of doing a part like this is you take everything off, and then it's in a pile. And there's no books that really say it, but this is what I started doing. Because I'm going to have to come through now and remove all this line. And you think you'd remember, but I'm just putting white spots where the bolts go. I can always spray it. White spots. I already got tons of pictures, but there's so many pictures you can't find anything. So I'm going to take it off. I'm not going to bend them. I'm going to lay them on there. And then I'm just going to caulk them, because this is steel and this stuff bends a lot harder than the other, so it's a good mold to follow. And if you notice, this fuel line doesn't have any of that spring on it until it gets to right there. But the brake line goes all the way. Let me just keep looking. I'm just talking. You know, a lot of this I figured out if I say it out loud, I remember it. Easier. So it's solid line, it's solid spring all the way to the brake line is all solid. The brake line is all in the spring. But the fuel line, like I say, it starts right here for some reason. Oh, they also call it gravel guard. So if it's gravel guard, why doesn't it go the whole distance? if you can see where I am. We're over here on the passenger side. I've only got the spring from here to here, and then a rubber. Then no, I'll call it spring gravel guard, then no gravel guard here, or here, or the rest of the way. But all the brake line is. That's it. You know, I just wanted to add this one more thing. In my opinion, you should put some of this spring gravel guard at every bend, even if it's only 6-8 inches. That way you can always bend it. And it's just like I showed you in the sandblaster. They don't kink. It doesn't bend. It doesn't have anywhere to expand to. Okay, I'm gonna do another video here. So I'm gonna try to remember. I think this box is in the screen. So I bought this Eastwood brake tube flaring tool. There's instructions. There's some instructions. They're not really clear. But this is the die, and this is what it looks like. It's good. OP stands for 0. I found out after calling them up. So the OP0, OP1. It says OP1 4.75 millimeter, OP1 3/16, OP1 1/4, OP2 3/16, 1/4, and 4.75 millimeter, OP1 5/16, OP1 3/8, OP2 5/16, and 3/8. I'm just showing you this because I might not be able to show it close up afterwards. But if you notice, there's cone shapes on operation 2. Operation 1 is flat. And OP0 is for when you put the tube in. I'll show you. When you put the tube in the machine, this is going to push it up against the die. That's what that is. That's operation 0. So the dies. Oh, let me show you this first. I just bought this as an example for myself, but so that's a double flare. A double flare means it's 2 operations. It flares it, which means it goes out, and then it pushes the flare in. So whatever you tighten up against is going to get like a pressure fit. That's probably why sometimes they're so hard to get up and get off. So anyway, that's a double flare. Then there's these dies. I don't know if you probably can't. I don't know if you can see it, but it says DIN, and it says 1/4. So it says that on. Anyway, for this one it says DIN 1/4. On the other side it says 1/4 45. So it says that for. It'll say the exact same thing on the 1/4. Comes with the 3/16, same thing, both sides. 5/16, both sides, same thing. And then you get to the 3/8, and it's got the 45 side, but on the other side, it's different. So where it says DIN, which I asked what DIN means, they didn't know. They said it's a German word. I'm going to look it up. But you notice this, there's no DIN on this one. And the DIN
that's where I'm gonna stumble for a second. Well, again, it doesn't say what DIN is, but it does say it. So you get these pipes, this tubing. I'm trying to find a tool. Just hang on a second. I always think I'm ready, but I never am. So you have this tool, you know, I'm sure you know, everybody knows how to use it. You put it on there. This is scrap. Turn it. Make sure it's in the groove. Turn it, tighten it, turn it, tighten it, turn it, tighten it, and then it'll cut. But if you're doing a bunch of brake lines, again, I don't know, who knows what people are going to say, but you can cut this with this. And then after you cut it, if you cut it a little crooked, you can just put up against it like that. And to clean it out, this is, I used to do plumbing, and this is what I used to clean out the copper water pipes. And it says 3/16 to 1/8", but it fits inside here, so you just go like that. If there's any burrs on it, you can just go like this, or like that. Okay, so now I'm going to stop and I'm going to go over and do these double flares. It's just it's hard to get an angle here. In fact, I won't stop. I'll do this the best I can, because the instructions aren't clear for everything. I made a cheat sheet after reading the directions and calling them. So first of all, this thing looks like this. Made to be vice mounted. Just tighten it pretty good. Make sure your vise is tight or it won't spin, because you got to put a lot of pressure on here. So you take the die, put it on there. There's like a ball bearing here that compresses. So you push it in. All I have is a 1/4 inch cut, so I'll grab the 1/4 inch. So you take the 1/4 inch. Let's say you want to make a flare. A flare is a bubble. A bubble flare is like what you would use at the end, where you want to put a rubber tube over, rubber hose, and then put a clamp on it. So looking at these, which I read before, you put the DIN side up, and the DIN side out is just square, where that's got a 45 in it. Just drop it in, put on operation 0. Again, that's going to push the pipe in. So I'm actually going to push the pipe right up against it. Make sure I got DIN. Put that over, push this through, tighten this up at just a hair. Now, you can't see it, but when I do this, it's going to push, operation 0 is going to push the pipe through. Now it's flush with the dies, and it pushes the dies tight if they're not tight. Lock it.
I just go to operation 1 DIN. Okay, I got this tight. See, it's even spinning, it's not tight enough. Doesn't hurt to hold it steady. Just push it, you'll feel when it's all the way. Take it out, or loosen this a hair. Pull this knob back, flip this up, move this die, and you got a bubble flare. What I don't like about this bubble flare is it makes the hole smaller. So I don't have my drill in front of me because I was using it for something else. But what I do is I just get a drill bit a little bit smaller than that opening. I'm not an expert, again, I'm just learning, but this is what I'm doing. Because I don't want a spot where it can get blocked up if there's anything in the tank. So you just drill that out. And then clean it the same way. And if you got any rough edges, after that, you can file it. Then I got a piece of rubber hose here. And again, this really what this is for is that when you slip the tube over, you can see it doesn't want to go in. You have to force it in. Which, by the way, if you heat this up in hot water, it'll slip right in. But here's the other side without the flare, without the bubble flare. See, it goes right in. So that's what the bubble flare is for. Now getting to these double flares, let me just reach across here. Lost my example. Double flare. Take the die out, put it on operation 0. Take the die out, flip it around. You want the 45 facing that way now. I'm just going to turn this over. Put it in. Again, I just make sure that's tight. I just push it up against there. Again, this thing locks it. So it's not locked. When you push that in, it'll push it back. So you put that in, leave it long. I'd say double check. Let me just double check one more time. Yeah, it's the 45 side. Put those in. Pipe is long. Slip that through. Just tighten up a hair so this thing isn't loose. Push that through. You just push the tube through, and it pushed the dies back. Now they're all flush. Then you go to operation. This is 1/4 inch pipe. So I'm going to go to OP1. Which, let me just take this out. See, there's the cone and there's the flat. It looks the same as this DIN 1. I just don't get it. Why does that one only say DIN? Anyway, back to what I was saying. Put this back on. It's already flush. It's on. There. For some reason, once in a while you push it on and it feels tight and it's not. Just take it back off. That's in there tight. When it's loose, it won't lock into place. Even though it looks like it's in place, it's not. So, I did operation 0. That flushed it. I'm going to do operation 1 on 1/4. Now I'm going to go to operation 2, 1/4. You know, looking in there, it looks like it made like a bubble flare, but I don't want to take it out. So now operation 2, this should finish the double flare. It does take some force. That's why I didn't get those real cheap ones where you tighten it up. I used to use one of those when I was a kid. I just didn't want to mess with it. Okay, loosen it. Pull this back, tilt this up. Now you got a double flare. This is 5/16. This is 1/4, but you can see they're exactly the same. But again, you might want to clean that hole out with a drill bit. They don't say to do that. I haven't seen a video that says to do that. But I can tell you, just looking in there, it wouldn't hurt. So anyway, and there's one other operation. See if I can remember. It's called I'm reading my direction. I'm reading my cheat sheet because it doesn't make sense to me. Okay. Here's a single flare. Now, there's no cars that I know that use a single flare. But anyway, we're gonna go 1/4 inch. Put it in. You know, it doesn't say if I'm supposed to put it on double flare or not. I mean, I fall on the 45 side or the DIN side, I don't think. That's interesting. But I would guess if you want a flare, you're going to put the 45 side out. So 45 side out, that way. 1/4 inch pipe. Put it back to operation 0. Again, this is a piece of pipe not cut. I mean, not shaped yet. 45. Let me turn this over. Just I double check. Okay, now what it says, put this on, push this in. That flushes all, but it says do not tighten it. I forgot where I saw that, but it says don't tighten it. Which it doesn't make any sense to me. Then go to operation 1. That didn't do anything. So I'm going to go back to operation 1, pull it back, push it out, push it in, lock it, operation 1. Oh yeah, I do have it marked down here. 45 out. Operation 1. Let's just try it. I'm going to use the DIN. Use the DIN. Let's see what happens. Let's see if it flares or not.
It made like a bubble flare. Flip these around. This is where I'm screwing up. Thought I was sure, but I'm not. Again, put this other side in. Operation 0. Lock it. Not going through. Don't know why. Now it's through. Tighten it a hair. Zero it. Tighten it. So I wrote on here OP1, but I didn't write. But there's DIN that says OP1, and there's OP1 that says 3/16. That's where I'm screwing up. So what did I do last time? We'll just go to use DIN. I don't see what the difference is. It's a bowl flare. I'm gonna have to make this video over. I thought I knew what I was doing. Shoot. Yeah, it doesn't say single flare. That's the problem. People that make these tools nowadays, they don't sell them. So when you call up, or if it's not in the instructions, they say they'll get back to you. Okay, I figured it out. Here's a single flare. But where you use these, it's basically like a countersink. But where you use these, I don't know. You don't use them in, well again, first thing, the disclaimer that everybody says is follow whatever came off your car is what you're going to put back on your car. I've never seen that on a brake line or a fuel line in my life. It might be some application that I don't know about. So anyway, I figured it out. So we'll put this back to, this is for a single flare. Put it back to 0. The 45s are out. I mean, logic says it has to be out because that's a 45. Put it in. .45 out. Operation 0. Well, I was struggling before with this. If this is too tight at all, watch. Which doesn't make sense to me. Oh, that's what happened. If this can't go all the way down, this piece won't slide in. So now it slides in. Just tighten it a hair. Operation 0. Tighten it. Not too tight, because they can't go back. You don't want to screw up this die. So go to Operation 2. And the reason I'm going to Operation 2 is because this has a 45 on it. Operation 2. Make sure that's tight. It's flush. It's tight. Again, you got to pull out a force.
not a lot, but I'd say 50 to 60 pounds. Loosen it, pull this back, take this off. There you go. You got a single flare. Single flare on both sides. So again, single flare. Bubble flare. Double flare. Double flare is what you're going to be using whenever you use these. You're always going to be using double flare. I'm just looking at my fittings here. Anyway, that's all there is to it. You know, this appears to be, I can't tell my steels, but I would say you don't want to rust this. So I'm just going to put it away for the night. I'm just going to line these up so I don't screw up.